Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Zingg. I teach in the wild and wonderful Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia, where I've lived with my retired special ed husband for over 30 years. I teach high school math primarily, but I have also taught high school theater, high school film, kindergarten computers, and any number of other things. I have been an Edulastic innovator for at least 4 years and maybe 5. And I can tell you it is the most amazing software, and I am grabbing people and introducing them to it left, right, and center. Next slide, please. All right. So one of the things that's really nice about being able to differentiate with Edulastic is you can be fair and equitable. I recently had a situation where I had students who had very different backgrounds in a topic. And I actually have 2 students shadowing me from Shepherd University nearby. And I posed the question to them: how do you solve this? How do you address this? Half the class has mastered this and the other half is really struggling. So I let them think about it and I thought about it, and I came up with multiple assessments based on where the students were at the time. Same number of points, same name for the assessment. So if a student looked at the student next to him's assessment, he didn't know it was any different. So that way nobody felt bad about themselves because they had the bluebird or the red bird or the easy version or anything like that. And it worked amazingly well. It met the students where they were. It reinforced what their needs were. The students who already had mastered slope and y-intercept and graphing linear functions were able to do more challenging problems, maybe some word problems, maybe some application problems. And the ones who are still struggling with the basics, identifying where the slope is, identifying where the y-intercept is, graphing it online, got to do what they needed at the time. So it was a terrific thing to do. It's easy to create different assessments and assign them not to the whole class, but to specific students. So you can really customize by the need of the student. And say you have students who have IEPs that are only supposed to get 3 choices in a multiple choice test. All you do is clone your test, go back and edit it and take out one of the responses. Wonderful, easy to do, easy to be fair and equitable. Next slide, please. The other thing I do is to provide in-depth comments in feedback as a way of differentiating. If a student needs a little more prompt, a little more encouragement, a little more reminder of how this relates to what we've been doing, that can all be done in the comment section. So say they take an assessment and they miss a question. I can leave them a detailed comment. Do you remember in class when we, whatever? Do you look for the whatever? Be very specific. And I've even created a sheet where they go and they write down what the problem was, they write down what my comment is, and then they redo it by hand. And that's been very effective. I usually make their comments by name. I'll say, Jaden, to do this. And they take, it's like we're having a conversation, but we're having a conversation in writing. I also usually have a place for them to be able to ask questions on a Jamboard or something like that if they're really lost. I have, like I'm sure most of you have, some quiet girls who wouldn't speak normally, but certainly are not going to speak with a mask on. And we are still 100% masked. And even if they did speak, you couldn't hear them because they're speaking so quietly. But they will type a question and they will ask a question that way. So that's another way that I've differentiated my students. Next slide, please. Giving students multiple opportunities to redirect as needed. This, again, the redirect feature on Edulastic is amazingly powerful. It allows you to have a student completely retake the assessment, have them just look at the ones they skipped, have them just look at the ones they got wrong or partially wrong. And some students who should have mastered something, you may want to not redirect at all. Other students who are really struggling, you may want to redirect one time or two times or three times. And that can be totally individualized to the students. There's no why or where. You can just set it as to meet the children's needs. I know that my special ed co-teachers feel that this is very important, because then they can sit down with the student and go back through the individual questions and work with them one-on-one to try and understand what they got wrong. Your top flyers, your high flyers will frequently see that they made a careless mistake. And it's so on the sheet that I give them, it says, was this a careless mistake? Was this a conceptual misunderstanding? Did you not know what you're doing, or did you just not pay attention to the question? And many of the students read the questions not critically. So I'm trying to train my students to read every question 3 times, once to get the general gist, once to look for specific details, and once to make a plan. And I found that that's very helpful. I'm hoping to be on the webinar this evening. If I don't have parents turn up, if they do, well, then I'll deal with them when they come in. Feel free to reach out to me at bzingg at k12.wv.us, or at my Instagram. I guess it's my Instagram, which is at bzingg56. I don't answer that as much as I would answer an email. So let me just say that again, bzingg at k12.wv.us. Thank you.